Today we are going to be cutting up this fantastic pig. Now this is an orchard pig, as you can see, one of the best you can get. I mean, I've chose this myself from my place of work, which is there, Worcester Wholesale Meats. You know, we sell to the trade, and in my 25 years of butchery, this is the best pork I have ever seen. And I'm not just saying that, it is fantastic stuff. And I'll just show you what we got. This is half a pig, weighs 34 kilos. And you see, if you look at the legs here, this is a female pig, nice and clean, you know, always makes the best bacon, and to me, the best pork. So what I'm going to do then, first of all, is going to break this down into primals. We're going to take the legs off, take the loin off, and take the shoulder, and then we're going to show you how we process it and get all the cuts. Right then, first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut it into primals. 4 primals on this pig. This fantastic pig. And like I said, joking apart, some of the best pork I've ever cut. Just going to take the shoulders off, and you'll see why this is amazing stuff. That nice layer of fat, nice clean meat. That's the shoulders took off. You have a look at that. Fantastic looking pork. Look at the colour of that. You don't get that in the supermarket. Lovely fat on there. So that's the shoulders. Next, we're going to cut the leg off. Now there's 2 ways to cut the leg. You can leave it long with the chump on, so you can see where it comes out on that bend. That next joint, you can go through there. But I'm going to do it short because I'm going to roll this. Now, a lot of butchers, they'll cut it on an angle, that H-bone there, and the tail, which is the back passage, through there on an angle. But I like to keep mine nice and square. So I'm just going to go down like that. I'm just going to saw through, and that should leave me a nice square leg to roll. I mean, the lot of butchers out there might be going, oh, what's he doing? But you know, I know what I'm doing. Look at that. Right, and the last primal I'm going to take off, there's a kidney, is this belly. Now what you do with your belly, I'm going to take it right in close to the chump. I mean, this is set beautiful. It really is a pleasure to work with such good stuff. I'll make some great bacon. There's your belly. And who wouldn't want a couple of them chops for their tea? So that's just in the primals then. As you can see, got our belly, got our loin, got our leg, and we got our 4 there, our shoulder. Now it's time to break it down, and the real work begins. So first of all then, we're going to start with the belly, my favourite cut, the cheaper cut. As you can see, this flare fat here, just gently going to go through it. This is the stuff charcutiers love, pure flare fat, great sausages, salami, making your own lard. You'd be hard pushed to find a better piece of fat. Now you're left with this. Like I said, my favourite cut, the cheap one. Just going to nip that bone off there. My all-time favourite cut, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to go between 5th and 6th. I'm going to cut that. That is hell of a roasting joint. Fantastic that is. And with the rest, I'm just going to cut through some nice chunky belly slices. So in between the bones, great, done slowly in the oven. I love it just with bread and butter. Fantastic. I'll just continue slicing those bellies off, and then anybody who makes sausage will know that this is some of the finest meat to go into there. You know, it's got a good ratio of fat to lean, so you'd use the shoulder meat and some belly meat. So I shall cut another couple of slices, and I shall use that end about there and make some nice sausages, which I'll be showing you to do a bit later on in another video. Got those lovely belly slices. How many we got? Give it 12. I'm going to put that in sausage. As you can see, I was explaining, there's 5 layers to the belly. As you can see, there's fat, there's the meat, the muscle, fat, muscle, and another muscle. 5 different flavours, 5 different textures, but fantastic in sausage. So I shall trim that up later. Actually, why not? Because I love the stuff. Let's take another one off, and that will go into the trim pile for sausage. So next then, we're going to work on this fantastic loin. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this fat away, because in here you've got your tenderloin, which is your equivalent to your fillet steak. So you know, this can be cooked real quick. I'm just following the bones down, keep my knife up close to those bones. This is so easy to take out. Just take your time. This is the muscle that does the least work, hence you can cook it real quick. Some more lovely fat there. Go in the sausage and get some good sausage off this beauty. There you have tenderloin. First thing I'm going to do, so I'm going to cut this chump off so we can get some steaks. So the bend, the next joint, get my knife in, straight through. Be a lovely little joint that. So we got our loin then as our loin end. Now normally you would just cut through these, get a chopper. I'm not going to chop it, not on my plastic board. Pork chops like that. But I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to chine it. So we're going to take that backbone out, and then we're just left with that lovely eye of meat and just the rib bone. But to do that first, if I can show you, if you look here, these are all the rib bones and where they end. I'm just going to cut straight down, take that loin end off. And there's basically the loin end. If you left your fillet in, it would be like your T-bones. But what I'm going to do, some nice chops. So I'm going to chine it. So we're just going through the bone, gentle. You can hear it change pitch. We should be all the way through with our knife. Just going to gently bone this out, and then that allows us to cut nice thick pork chops, that rib bone in. Stunning, nice and thick. If you're going to have a chop, have a chop. How nice they look. See what I mean by the quality. So we're onto this loin end. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to bone it out, and I'm going to cut some nice thick boneless loin steaks. Just nip through these. Just eat that, get one of them in the pan, between 2 pieces of bread, I'm done. That lovely layer of fat. You know, you haven't got to eat the fat, but you need it there to cook it. You know, and this is good fat. This is, you know, a decent pig, an orchard pig, does exactly what it says on the tin. It's quality. And there's our loin steaks, completely boneless. So as you can see then, my boneless loin steaks, my lovely loin chops, which I've chined, took the backbone off just on the rib, and then with this chump, I mean, you leave it on the bone. This is the equivalent of a rump steak if it was on the cow. So, you know, this can be cooked fast. Just nip the bone out nice and clean. You're left, as you can see, that would make a lovely joint. But you get some lovely steaks off this. Not too thick, so you can do them quick. And that bit of trim in my sausage. There's me 4 chump steaks. So all that from that loin. It doesn't look a lot when it's in a piece, but if you weigh that up, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 boneless steaks, that lovely fillet, tenderloin, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 pork chops. Now it's on to this magnificent thing, this leg of pork. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the trotter off. See that bend? Just saw it straight through. Now I'm going to take my hock off because I do like a roasted hock. I mean, you can leave it in and bone it, but that slowly roasted in the oven is equivalent of like a ham hock. It's a fantastic joint for 2. Do it slow, crackle it up. Stunning joint. Just trim it up a bit. This will all go into trim. I'll show you what we have left actually after, when you see the size of it and what's left. Just take that meat off around the H bone. I'm forever rolling these at work. So it is hard to get the angles when you're on this camera. I mean, I wanted to do this outside, but it was raining. Just my luck. So I've nipped that H bone out. We'll trim that up. That'll go to sausage. Next, we want to take the femur out. Years ago, we used to roll these with the femur in. So you'd have a leg of pork joint on the bone. But because this is a big leg, and you know the joints are big, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to cut down there, and I am going to take out, by seaming it, what would be the thick flank. And it's a hell of a piece of meat. You could tie it up separately for a joint, but I'm going to get some more steaks out of this one to make it go further. A bit of dancing around the camera. Now I'm going to do skinless steaks. Right, let's take this femur out. And then we can roll what is pretty much the top side and the silver side left. Get smaller, more manageable joints. It's easy when you know how. Just take a bit of that sinew out the middle, and what we'll do is we'll score that and we'll roll it. But onto that flank, as you can see, it's a lovely solid piece of meat. So we just get some nice medallions out of that. We can trim them up in a minute. Again, you know, cook these as you would a steak, pan fry them in the oven. It would be fantastic. There we have our lovely steaks. Just trim them bits off into the sausage pile. So as you can see then, my leg ready for rolling. We'll come back to that. I'm going to get that in the fridge for a bit, get it back on chill. There's a lovely hock and the bits of trim. Right, let's do the shoulder. Right, now we come to this awesome bit. This is the whole shoulder, as you can see. Now much prized by the sausage makers because it's got a fantastic ratio of fat to lean, just the right ratio you want, mixed with a little bit of belly to make the ultimate sausage. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to take this hock off. I don't know whether to bone it out, put it in my sausage. Like I said, I do like these roasted. Trying to work around the camera. Take that off, just like that. Now, several things we can do with this. You can saw down there and then you sheet that out and you're left with the spare rib chops. But one of my favourite parts of this is the actual spare rib roast. So to achieve that spare rib roast, excuse my knife there, I'm going to cut in a straight line from that neck just through those ribs, and we're going to hopefully come on to the joint. So through that joint, the ball joint, and there you have your hand of pork, and there's my spare rib that I am going to roll. Now this, I'm going to get some diced pork off this, make some nice Somerset cider pork, slowly stewed down with some cider, some apples, and then the rest I'm going to put into my sausage. I'm going to make a nice batch of sausage up, some traditional English sausage, so look out for that in a future video. But you know, I want a good amount of meat for my sausage, you know, about 7 pounds, 3.5 kilos, so you know, it's going to take most of this. I might make a double batch, but that, as that stands, hand of pork, fantastic cut, loads of meat on it, do it slow, you know, it's almost like pulled pork, fantastic. But we'll come back to that. Let's get on with my spare rib roast. Now I'm just going to take the bone out. It really is difficult doing it on the camera because without making excuses, it's getting the angles. But I'm going to show you at the end what we've got left, all the bones and all the trim, and you'll be surprised. You know, they say you can use every part of the pig bar the squeal. I mean, all these bones into stock, stew them down. I should trim that up in a minute. I'll just take out this blade bone. If you've seen my other videos, my lamb one, you know this is a tricky looking bone. It's a kind of thing they'd have made a weapon with years ago. Just trying to show you on the camera how we get right up tight onto the bone. So I shall continue boning this. So there's the bone come out, as you can see, odd shape, but you're left, I mean, just look at that bark of fat. In fact, I know this is sacrilege, I'm going to pinch a bit of that for me sausage. This is prime back fat. If you have a look, it's almost like cream. It's beautiful stuff. Now this joint, this is something else. I mean, I know I'm doing a whole pig here, but a choice between shoulder, spare rib roast and leg, no competition. It's this every time, and that's purely because the amount of fat to lean, and it all mounts down. I'm just going to square it off and make a fantastic roasting joint. Just score it nicely to get that crackling. Really is a pleasure to butcher such fantastic meat. Like I said, from my place of work, Worcester Wholesale Meats in Worcester, England, really is the best pork going. So I'm just going to tie that up. I should put a few strings around just to show you. Then I shall cut a few joints. I know a lot of people ask me how I do the knot. I must get round to doing a video someday, but I can't give all my secrets away, can I? A lot of you out there going, yeah you can. So I shall continue to tie this. Those last few strings. Almost professional, eh? Almost. And when the pork's set this well, you have no trouble with it getting misshaped. You know, if your pork's not set, it's sloppy, it's floppy, you know, you can't tie it because you put a knot somewhere, say there, and all the meat shifts, the muscle, this. It's just absolutely perfect. And I shall show you why I like this joint so much. Like I said, you know, you haven't got to eat the fat, but you need it to cook it. You know, you can cut it off, but you need to cook it with that fat. Let's just have a look now. My knife a little sharpened. Get 3 decent size joints out of this. There you have those beautiful, beautiful rolled spare rib joints. I'll tell you what, I missed my wooden block. I had a proper wooden block, and like an idiot, I gave it away for next to nothing. And this really isn't as good to cut meat on. If there's any butcher supplier out there want me to big up a block, send me a wooden block. I'd be your best friend. Right, this hand of pork is a fantastic joint. When I was doing my apprenticeship, and you'd have your dangler at the end of the week, your dangler, your meat allowance, they'd all be taking home their, you know, rolled legs or whatever, and I'd take this. Yeah, it's hard to carve, but you get so much meat, and this was pence a pound when I first started. But like I said, most of this is going into sausage, so we're doing pretty much a slash job here, just breaking it down, going to dice a bit. But I've just cut that off there now. If you was to square that up, score that and tie it, you've got a lovely joint. But as it is, that's going to be diced, and this just going to trim out, bone it out, because I want to make some sausage. I got some back fat in the freezer, make a lovely mix. I got the trimmings of that belly, you know, it's prime sausage meat. So I'm just going to bone this out, trim it out, and I'm going to get some diced off that lovely muscle there. So as you can see there then, there's my pile starting to build for my sausage, all nice and trimmed, a nice mixture of fat and lean. Just going to work on this muscle. All we're going to do, and just break it down, get a couple of pounds of nice lean diced pork for a casserole. And you know, I've been a butcher now, you know, for over 25 years. I have never been out of work. It is such a noble trade. But it's a dying trade, you know, kids are not interested in it. You know, you got to discount the supermarket butchers. They don't know what they're doing. They definitely don't have products as good as this. I mean, that's the colour of pork. Some of that stuff at the supermarket, it's absolute rubbish, and I know because I've worked in one before. But like I said, it's a dying art, you know, it's a hard job, it's a physical job, early starts, on your feet all day, but it's a fantastic trade to learn. So if any of you get a chance, you know, take it up, and trust me, we've always got to eat. You can only get a machine to bone certain parts. You will always need a guy to stand there with his knife and the truth. You'll never be out of work. Anyhow, that's enough of that. So just quickly dice it through, strip the valuable fat from the skin, and slide your knife underneath, nice and clean. Right then, let's finish this leg. As you can remember, I took off the thick flank, and the reason I do that is because if you was to roll it whole, I think, to my mind, yeah, you get a nice big joint, but if there's only a few of you, you know, it's only going to be about that thick. It's not going to roast very well. So what I tend to do, I split mine into basically what would be your silver side or your outside round, and your top side or your inside round. Then what you can do is trim this up nice, and I'll show you what I mean. You know, a lot of butchers out there going, what the hell are you doing, dude? But it makes sense. You know, there's no good if there's just two of you having, you know, rolled leg, it would be as thin as a steak. Well, this way you can get a nice sized joint, and it's, you know, got a bit of integrity. So I'm just going to score that, and it might start looking like a joint. You tie that up now, and you cut that into 3 if you want, or 2. You've got a lovely joint. And the same with this top side. Just trim it up. It's a lovely, lovely joint. What we're going to do, put a few strings around it and cut it. So I'll just tie these then. This can add to my ever burgeoning sausage pile. So I'm just finishing off that last string. Now then, you'll see what I mean now. I can get 3 lovely manageable joints out of this, instead of those big old rounds. And then these fantastic, these really are truly beautiful mini little roasting joints. So they're not as small as you think, you know, ideal for 2 people, these 3 or 4 people, but these fantastic. That, you know, would be a corner of top side, fantastic joint. Roast it, slice it, and you get that out your leg. So there you have my half pig in all its glory. How many cuts can you name? Let's bring it closer, let's have a look. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 steaks, that lovely flare fat. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 belly slices. I've given a couple away already to my folks. My favourite roasting belly joints. We got our lovely loin chops, our boneless loin steaks, my favourite shoulder joints, rolled spare rib, 3 of those, 5 of those leg joints. Bring it over here. We got my lovely pile of sausage meat. I can't wait to make some sausage with this. We got my diced pork, that fantastic hock roast, that trotters, tenderloin. I've given a few chops to my folks, the kidneys, but that, folks, is how to butcher a pig. Now, hands up if you can remember how much I said it weighed at the start. Fair play to you. I had 5 kilos of waste, and that's bones, you know, and a little bit of sinew and a bit of skin. But you know, that won't go to waste. You know, the Asian community, they boil up those bones for a base stock for their dishes, you know. You could do the same. Nothing is wasted. I hope you enjoyed that. One magnificent beast. Some say the finest, and I think you'll agree. It really is. Hope you've enjoyed watching this. Just like to say a big shout out to Si, the gaffer at Worcester Wholesale Meats. You know, help me choose this fantastic pig. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care.